your time at the Rupa, a podcast for the festival community. I'm Charlotte.
And I'm Daniel, and this week we're joined with some very good friends. They've been to a couple of Mini Roos with us. We've been to their wedding. We've got Ryan and Jordan from right here across town in Huntsville. How's it going, guys?
Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. We just had some dinner. What are you guys up to?
We're just drinking some drinks and hanging out at the house.
Okay, tell me what you're drinking.
What do I have? Jordan grabbed me a beer. St. Arnold award-winning summer pills.
I think it is a New Orleans brewery. We had some friends come up here from the Hurricane Ida, and they stayed at our house for a couple days, and they brought a bunch of beers up from New Orleans.
Oh, it's actually it says Houston.
Oh, never mind, my bad. But there are some New Orleans ones in the fridge.
I'm going to ask on behalf of a mutual friend, is it a ribbon-winning beer? Has it won a blue ribbon?
No, there's only one beer I know of that's won a blue ribbon.
I know. They've been hanging on to that for years. They can't ride the coattails of that blue ribbon for like another couple of decades.
I really don't know. I need to look into it more. I'm sure Russ could give us the full history, I would hope, but I don't even know where the blue ribbon came from originally. Who gave them the blue ribbon?
Yeah, where did this come from? We have to start questioning this. I'm going to be hanging with him this weekend. We're recording this on Thursday the 23rd, and this Saturday we're headed up to Chattanooga. I'm going to go hiking with him, and he's going to take us to one of his favorite haunts, the Bitter Alibi, like a place on a hill over in Chattanooga. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and I'm going to report back.
Yeah, find out and let me know.
All right. So, guys, the way that we're introducing our guests from now on is you tell your favorite story from Bonnaroo or another festival. You got a good one to share with us?
Well, I'll let Jordan go first on this one.
Oh, okay.
Sure. All right, so I was thinking about it, and I think my favorite Bonnaroo moment is they do a 5K pretty early in the morning on one of the days, and congrats to the people that are willing to wake up early and go running during a festival. I could never do that, but we woke up that morning and our campsite was right next to where the people were running. And we all decided we wanted pizza rolls for breakfast. And as the runners were going by, Ryan is just screaming at them, "Who wants a pizza roll?" And people just kept lining up along the fence to grab pizza rolls from Ryan's hand as he was cooking them in the little Bonnaroo cast iron skillet right there on the grill. And I just really liked that moment. I thought it was a great group of people coming together, eating pizza rolls, running the 5K in the morning, grabbing fruit.
Recipe for disaster, kind of, because like often everybody knows the problem with pizza rolls is like they taste fine when you take a little nibble, but as soon as you bite in, they're like super hot. I don't know if I want to eat that while I'm doing a 5K when it's 90 degrees.
Yeah, they were pretty bold.
Okay, that's awesome. Yeah, we've had the bus park right next to the road the couple of times that we've been there the past couple of years. And we see the 5K come next to us too. So I've done it a couple of times myself. That's been enough because I get too worn out for the rest of the weekend. But it's so fun watching them go by and like cheering them on and like trolling them a little bit. Like we've brought in like water guns and stuff. But I don't know. A cool water from a super soaker is a little different than like 200 degrees on the inside of a pizza roll.
Oh, yeah. People love to snack, though, in the middle of the race.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Ryan, what's your story?
So I think my story's going to be from 2019. So AJR came and played the Witch stage. And also on the lineup was The Lonely Island, which we were all dying to see. Yeah, they were really good. But we were at one point trying to get into the pit for The Lonely Island, and we had never been in the pit for the Witch stage. And, you know, we kind of knew how it was set up. You can get in line for whatever artist you want to get into, but we'd never heard of anybody saying any hard numbers of, you know, how many people do they let in the pit? Or like how long should, like, if you show up kind of late, like what's the line situation going to be? Like if you get in line now, are you actually going to get in? So we decided to test it out for AJR, who was playing late afternoon on the Witch stage also.
And you've never seen them before, right?
Yeah, I'd never seen them before, and I'd heard them on the radio. They've got a couple radio hits that have been pretty popular, but I'd never seen them, and Jordan wanted to see them, and she was actually going to get like a spray paint tattoo, and me and a couple other guys in our group got in line for the pit for AJR, just to kind of see like how far back can you be in line and still get in. And Marquez, the first guy that was in our group of 3 in the pit, got through, and then they stopped me. And the guy was counting, he said 350, and then he stopped me. And I said, all right, this is exactly what I wanted. This is the perfect data point.
This is big news, because I don't know that I've ever heard an accurate numbers. So it was 350 is what you heard.
So it was 350 then, and then he asked one of the guys that I assume was the supervisor, and he said, should we let more in? And his supervisor said, let another 100 in.
Oh, okay.
So then we kept going. So at least 450. I guess he could have potentially said the same thing again at 450, but that's those are the data points I have.
Okay. That's good data to work with. I have never heard that. I have seen on my end that it's often not that hard to get into the pit for which, even if the line is like all the way back past those like food vendors, almost to like the bathroom back there, it seems like you can still get in.
Yeah, and we we went to AJR, and actually AJR they put on a pretty fantastic show. Even at the festivals, their full tours are kind of designed to be a mix between like a concert and a movie and a Broadway show, and they do a ton of cool graphics and interactive things, all tied together into one overarching story. But their festivals are quite good for not having that extra stuff that's normally on their tour. And that's what really got me into the band, and I really liked them. And then we didn't even get into the pit for the Lonely Island. I had never seen the line go all the way back to the bathrooms, and it was crazy long. So we just got up as close as we could to the fence.
Oh, we were right behind you then. I was kind of halfway between the rail for the pit and kind of those trees that are in the middle of the witch field.
I actually remember your sign, yeah. You had the big cat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys go to the ice machine afterwards, or how'd that work out?
So we tried.
Touchy subject here.
Uh-oh.
So we were going to go to the ice machine, and we were walking out of Center Roo, and 2 of the people in our group of 6's phones got stolen.
Oh,
different night, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was the same night or not, but
that was at
Oh no, that was no, it wasn't at Post Malone. It was for
Childish
Gambino.
Oh
no,
yeah, you're right. That was a different night. That was terrible, but
no, we missed. So we were on our way to meet Lonely Island at whatever, like
the
Plaza
2 ice machine.
Yeah. So, and Ryan here was like, hurry, let's go. And the other half of our group was like, no, we have time. We stopped at camp, got some drinks, hung out for a second. And by the time we finally got there, he had already left.
Yeah, I heard from a couple of people that they actually showed up for like a hot minute and gave out.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we asked some people that were there, and they said they came by, but we missed them by a long shot because everybody else wanted to get some booze.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Ryan. We should have
listened
to you.
I love like in the past few years the past couple of times there has been a Bonnaroo anyways. Like it seems that the artists are starting to take more action out in the campgrounds. That I heard from a reliable source that if there was a Bonnaroo a couple of weeks ago, that Dave Grohl was going to show up and play an acoustic set like somewhere randomly in the campgrounds. He was apparently just going to like ride around in a golf cart and pick a spot.
That's amazing.
Well, one of the things that did come good out of missing the Lonely Island is we ended up over there by Plaza 2 at like, I don't know, 1:30 in the morning, and Where in the Woods is right there, and that's the only year that's had a Where in the Woods, if I'm not mistaken, at least in that kind of form. And that place was incredible.
Yeah, it was.
That's going to be my number one thing to do out in the campgrounds when we do get back in June. Is check that out because I still haven't.
Yep, never seen it.
Yeah.
There was a
Yeah.
Cadillac you could go up and paint, and they just had this huge stick, like the size, like the girth of a wine bottle, that you would dip in these huge buckets and just paint on it. It was really interesting.
Oh, that sounds dope.
Very trippy.
You're going to make me depressed because now I'm like thinking about what we should have been doing a few weeks ago. Let's move to something else. You guys did get to go to a festival just this past weekend. You were at Music Midtown in Atlanta, right?
Yeah, we grabbed a couple friends from our Bonner group, Jessica Marquez, and
Couple
we
extras.
had some other friends that met us down there, and we all went to Music Midtown.
So how was that? Because I've heard mixed things about that. A lot of people were saying that, like, well, maybe the lineup wasn't so hot, and then like it did rain in Atlanta a lot, like it rained on Roo before we got there. How did it look for you?
Yeah, so we actually bought Music Midtown tickets before the pandemic. There's a thing in Huntsville called Von Brewski Beer Festival. It happens every February, and we went to that with our group of friends, and we were pretty drunk afterwards, and we got some food, and someone said, "Hey, did you know My Chemical Romance is going to play Music Midtown in Atlanta this year?"
That's how far back that was, because I remember when that announcement was made, it was a big deal.
Yeah, so we all drunk bought tickets that night, and then it got rolled over to 2021 September, and then My Chemical Romance pulled out of everything this year.
But there's
So then we got the mystery.
Right?
What?
My Chemical Romance is supposed to be back at Music Midtown in 22, if I remember.
Yeah, they said they're gonna carry over their act to the next Music Midtown, but I don't recall getting the option to carry over the tickets to follow My Chemical Romance, but I'm glad we had them because it's nice to go to some festival.
What you're saying is you didn't get the option to carry on.
I don't think so.
I think my joke not blown over it. Well, all right. So what did you think of Music Midtown? How was the layout? Like, how was it for a city fest?
So, so there's nothing wrong with it. But there was nothing great about it. And at the end of the night, we all kind of sat around as a group and we're like, how was your day? How was your experience? Rate it from 1 to 5. And everyone around us was like 3 out of 5 stars.
Oh.
And I can't quite put my finger on it. Like, the bathroom situation was great. They were clean. There was tons of them. They were in great locations. They were the ones that have the water, the porta potties with the water, flushes. They had sinks, food, great food selections, lots of it, no lines. Drinks were really great. The lineup was great. The location was fun. It was very hilly and lots of fields, and there was a lake, and the people were really nice. I don't know what was missing. And I think the only thing I could think of today was art, maybe? Just something else to give that extra little step of.
It was very much just like concerts in a field with vendors, and
it's not the atmosphere like you have at Roo or like another big camping festival.
Right. And conveniently for us being AJR fans, to bring them up again, we saw them there. They ended up on the lineup, and the act after AJR was the Jonas Brothers.
How was that? You stayed for that, right?
We saw part of it. Just passing by, but
like that's what Charlotte and I would have done too. Like, just to see a few songs at least, just to say that we had. Would you have stayed in, Charlotte?
Maybe like a couple songs.
Okay, yeah. They're a little past our time, I think.
Yeah, we heard a couple, but not much. But we were pretty close for AJR, and as soon as AJR ended, there was a mass of women that were shoving their way as fast as they could to the front, and we're all just trying to get out because we're not going to stay up there and hang out with all those crazies. And they were brutal.
They were mean. I did not like them.
Really? Okay.
What did they say to Jessica? Do you remember?
No, but it was not nice. But the festival was fine. It's kind of just concerts in a field and okay food. No spicy pie though.
I think you nailed it in like saying that the art is what's missing because, well, I mean, you guys were there, not me. I would have assumed that the atmosphere would be different because everybody's not camping amongst each other for 3 or 4 nights or whatever. But the art is important. Like you think about like all the crazy stuff that you see on the walls when you go into Mini Roo, or all the stuff that like the different installations and experiences out in the campgrounds nowadays. You don't really see that. When you go to like a city fest, most of the time, it's as if somebody just took all the cookie cutter stuff from a festival that you would see otherwise and just plopped it in the middle of a town. It was like, all right, here's some music, go have at it.
Yeah, the art really does set a tone as you're walking in.
The art and the experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You didn't really have any of that. And the lineup's not for everybody. I've heard a lot of people complain about the lineup, and it's very much a more pop-centric lineup. And we didn't do any whole day adventures like we probably would have done it at Bonnaroo, but we saw some of the big guys, and we enjoyed pretty much everybody we saw.
Yeah, surprisingly, Miley Cyrus was my favorite.
Oh, I was very excited to see Miley because she got knocked off the farm lineup when they recycled it again. But
I'm hoping that she's going to be back in 22.
I sure hope so, because I was so disappointed this year. That was my one big person I wanted to see.
Yeah, a lot of people felt that way.
Yeah.
Kyle the Bonnaroovian felt that way. He was big on seeing her. And Barry from the What Podcast, he was dying to see her. Think about how many people were dying to see her. I feel like she's going to have the pull to come back in 22. But how was she at Music Midtown?
I hope so. She was really good.
Yeah.
She played a whole variety of stuff. She's got a couple pretty new things, and she's got stuff as old as Hannah Montana, and she didn't I don't think she played anything from Hannah Montana, but she played a couple things that were like just Miley as she was breaking out slowly from Disney Channel.
Wouldn't it be fun if she did old Hannah Montana songs in like the current Miley style? Like
I heard she did that the festival she was at previous to Music Midtown. She even came out in a Hannah Montana shirt. I haven't looked it up, but that's what somebody's telling us.
Embrace your past to forge. Yes. Oh, well, thanks, guys. We'll jump into our picks in a moment. I just had a couple of quick announcements for the podcast. I had a couple of people asking me this week about the meetup at the Tame Impala show in Atlanta, speak of the place. So, yes, on this coming Tuesday at 5:30, which is about an hour or so before the doors open, we're going to have a meetup for all the Bonnaroovians that wanted to see them at the farm that didn't get to, who are going to the Atlanta show. So show up at the Georgia International Plaza at 5:30. It's kind of like this lawn that's between the State Farm Arena and the Mercedes Dome. Look for maybe the Ricky the Cat totem. I don't know if I'm going to drag that up there, but I'll have on a gold blazer that I was going to wear to the show. I've got a couple of T-shirts to give away that the band sent me. They were so cool. They found out that we were doing this, so I got a package in last week with 2 or 3 or 4 T-shirts. First ones that come out get dibs, and we'll hang out for a little bit, maybe get a beer before the show, and have a little Mini Roo before the Tame show. Other announcement real quick is we have paused the Patreon. I want to thank everybody that contributed to that. We have put in the donation to the Bonnaroo Works Fund, a couple $100. And I think it will return in November. Charlotte and I have to confer a little bit and figure out what we're going to do next with that. You got any ideas?
No.
Okay, well, we got a month to think about that. It will return in November. More info on that soon. But for now, let's jump ahead to our weekly picks. Okay, so Charlotte is going to start us off. She's the lady of the house. She's going to get her picks first. Charlotte, What are you recommending to everybody this week?
Okay, so I had a couple different ones, and surprisingly, both of mine are music related.
Surprisingly.
Well, I just don't know like a lot of artists like most people do.
Sure you do. We have seen so many artists. What are you talking
I've
about?
seen people, but
Yeah.
I never talk about new music because I'm afraid it's going to be like something weird.
No, we're all here for weird. I think I speak for everybody here.
Well,
Absolutely.
the Lumineers had just released a new song like a couple days ago.
Yeah.
It's called Bright Side. And it's pretty typical Lumineers sounding, maybe a little bit more bassy. But I know a lot of people have been looking forward to new music from them for like a really long while now. So definitely check that out.
Is this the lead single to their new album?
I get it must be, yeah. And then my second pick that I have is actually Run the Jewels came out with a remix of their song Just from their 2020 album. And they actually came out with it about a month ago, but I just found it a few days ago somehow. And it is like amazing. It's with Pharrell Williams and somebody else, like Zach something. I can't remember, but it's so good.
Oh,
so
it's
definitely.
It's Zach from Raise the Machine.
Yes, that's who it is.
Yeah.
But definitely check that out. Just look up Run the Jewels, and it'll be like the newest single that they put out. It's really, really good. Sounds super cool.
Do they have like a whole remix album coming out? Because they have done a lot of side stuff, like Meow the Jewels. Remember that?
I don't know. Maybe they do, because they did that cyberpunk song too. And then, I don't know, maybe.
That is one of the
That'd be
gut
cool.
punches for me, as I was really dying to see them.
Yeah.
But
I've seen them before, so.
Yeah. It's not as if they're an international act, so we will have chances again in the next year. I mean, we've seen them, what, three times?
Twice. Pretty sure twice.
We saw them at Sloss. We saw them at Hangout. And I want to say we saw them. No, that's it. So only twice. So, yes, I need there to be a third time.
But they tour pretty often, so.
Yeah, we'll get to see him again, I'm sure. All right, next up, we're going to go with Ryan. Ryan, what are you picking this week?
Okay, so I was very disappointed listening to last week's podcast because Charlotte stole what I was going to use, which was Ted Lasso.
Oh,
we have a lot to talk about.
Yes.
Yeah. No, wait, no. Let's go through that. Did you watch this past week's episode where Coach Beard went like bar hopping and stuff?
No, we haven't. We're maybe one or two behind that.
I'm not going to.
We're pretty close, but we're kind of trying to watch them just a little bit slower now, just because we know the last one doesn't come out for.
I heard summer 22.
Oh, the next season.
It's like halfway through the current season, so if you just watch the next couple ones, you're going to catch up. I think there's like 4 or 5 episodes left. Do you remember, Charlotte?
yeah, I think like 4 or 5. I'm gonna say.
Yeah, you might as well catch up.
I know we've been watching them like, well, we binge watched quite a few of the beginnings, but now we're kind of down to like one every other night, and I'm trying to like slow it down just as we're approaching the limit of where they come out every Friday. But
it's okay. We have Halloween movies now.
So my actual first pick though is AJR's newest album. It's called OK Orchestra. It actually came out all the way back in March. It was actually a couple days after both of our birthdays. So it's kind of like a birthday present to us because I've been looking forward to it for quite a while. But I just love AJR's sound. It's very upbeat, and they take a lot of normal things and kind of really capture that feelings that you get from a lot of stuff that you don't get to usually talk about, like late nights and confusion. And there's a song about parents getting divorced in there, and it's quite a roller coaster, but it's a really good album. They've got a lot of good songs on there. I'm very excited to go see their tour at Ascend Amphitheater in Nashville. Gosh, that's going to be next May. That's a long ways away. But
did they play anything from that new album when you saw them at Music Midtown?
Yeah, I think about half of the songs during the set were from the newest album, and they played quite a few more popular older ones as well. And it's kind of half and half though. But it was really cool seeing some of the newer songs performed live and what they're going to do with them, and it was really good.
Well, I respect your fanboy in here.
Yeah, that's a third time I've mentioned in this podcast. Maybe I'll stop.
Dude, no, people are used to me being a fanboy about that certain other band, so we will.
So my second pick is a podcast, and it's called The Office Deep Dive, and I'm a big fan of The Office. And Brian Baumgartner, who plays Kevin Malone, the large guy in the accountant's corner.
The chili guy.
Yeah, the chili guy. Yeah, so he's put together this podcast. This is the second, actually. The first one came out pretty early on in the pandemic, and it had a similar name, but it was kind of combining all these interviews with all the cast members, a lot of production, producers, filmers, everybody you could even think of, casting directors from The Office, and kind of combining their thoughts on all these other things. And it went really well. The podcast did, and had pretty good reception. So he made a second one, which is called The Office Deep Dive. And that one is split up individually by who's on the podcast. So where you might jump between actors in the previous podcast, this one is just all one actor. So all Rainn Wilson or all Jenna Fisher or whoever for like an hour. And you really get to hear their individual thoughts on everything in the series.
There was another one that I did listen to a few episodes of. It was like The Office Ladies with Jenna Fisher and Angela Kinsey, where they kind of go like chronologically through every episode that they ever did and tell like the behind the scenes stories and stuff. Have you listened to that one too?
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I've only listened to a couple because when I found it, I didn't have Peacock, nor did I have DVDs, which now I have the little DVD box set. Yeah. So I'm going through that slowly. Maybe I should get on and listen to The Office Ladies as I get through.
So also, what is your favorite episode ever?
Oh my gosh. This is gonna sound like a cop-out, but I really, really love Diversity Day. It's the second episode ever of The Office, but it's so hilarious.
I can't do the first season. It's like overly cringy. Like everybody's unlikable in it. Like I don't know why. I've rewatched it a couple of times too, and I just can't watch season one. It's just like I can't do it.
Yeah,
I think
I enjoy it. I mean, they took a lot from the UK version, but I do agree with you. After that first season, it does settle out a little bit.
I think my favorite one was where Dwight took Ryan out to his farm, and he was trying to teach him to like be a salesman. But like he was like, you have to fight my cousin Mose, and he comes out like fear is written on his shirt. I don't know why, but that kills me. That one of my favorites anyway.
I like the one where they I don't know the name of it, but it's like where they go out and they do like a team building thing at like a lake.
Oh, that was like a season finale one year. I remember that one. Yeah. Oh, I'm going to say that was like the last one of season 2 or 3.
I think it was season 2, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was. Because like Michael was wearing like a funny Hawaiian shirt. Or like I can picture it.
Yeah.
Or the Booze Cruise. That was
the Booze Cruise.
The Booze Cruise.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
All right, let's go to the other lady in your house over there. Jordan, what are you picking for us for this week?
So this week I actually have 2 movies for everybody. I've been on kind of a older movie kick, kind of like 80s, 90s, earlier 2000s. I've just found that they're a little bit calmer and a little bit happier than some of the other stuff we've been seeing recently. But one of my favorite movies of all time is called Without a Clue. It's got Michael Caine in it, and I love Michael Caine. I don't know if anyone else is a Michael Caine fan out there, but if you do, you're gonna love this movie. But it's also got. Sorry, what?
I said, who isn't though? If you
right? How can you hate that guy? Yeah. But Ben Kingsley, Jeffrey Jones, people like that. But basically, it's a Sherlock Holmes movie where Michael Caine is playing Sherlock Holmes, and he's actually an idiot. And he's a paid actor and just spends the entire time messing up all of their cases and making a fool of himself, and it's completely hilarious, and I love it.
I have never heard of this. I'm going to
It's
Charlotte's
so
like
good.
right now.
Yeah, I literally looked it up, and that sounds dope. Like I gotta.
It's funny.
I have to. Okay, that sounds really good. I think I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Oh, I love it. It was a family favorite in our house.
Ooh.
And then I guess my second one, there's two versions. It's called Death at a Funeral. There's a British version that came out like 2007, an American version that came out 2010. And again, probably one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. Watch either of them. They're both hilarious. Watch them both, actually. But basically, this person dies. And I don't think this is spoiling it, but the daughter's new husband accidentally takes like LSD or something. They don't really tell you what it is, and just messes the entire funeral up over and over and over again. And there's so many other little plot twists that are going on, and it's just a really, really funny movie.
Is that the one with Matthew Perry from Friends? Or this is another one?
No, different one.
Different. Okay,
It's
different.
the one with Chris Rock.
Chris Rock.
Yes. Chris Rock is in the American version, yeah.
All right, these movies were both around my time, and I missed both of them.
Yeah,
so those
I've
are
never
two
seen
things
either
to
of
check
them.
out. I think my favorite from around that era was A Knight's Tale. Like,
That's a good one too.
if you go back and watch that, it is like a murderer's row of great actors. Like
Mhm.
one that's gone too soon, but like you look at the rest of it, and it's like it's insane how many good people are in that, and it holds up too. It's goofy. And it's a little silly because like it has like modern music in like medieval settings, but it still works. I love that movie so much. But yeah, that was around like 2000, 2001. That was a different time, man. I miss stuff from around that time.
Me too.
Can we bring back baggy pants and cargo shorts and things like that?
No cargo shorts.
I saw modern day cargo pants on a guy yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes,
Oh.
I'm here for it. Look, I feel like I successfully brought back jorts. I'm bringing back that next.
You did get me to buy a pair of jeans and cut them off.
You
I will
look
give you that.
fantastic in them too. Listen,
Oh,
when we
thank
get
you.
back, when we get back in June, Jorts Day is going to happen. I'm going to have everybody in jorts.
No.
I'm ready.
I had this plotted out. I was going to get it going viral, and like Dave Grohl was going to show up in jorts on stage. Because
What?
they played on Friday. Yes, well, they were supposed to play on Friday. This would have been a thing. All right, I'll get to mine. I got two quick things that'll kind of play into what Ron and I are going to geek out about in a minute. So I am a person that I like Star Wars, but I also like Star Trek. I might like Star Wars a little bit more. But this week, I finally checked out this new animated thing that's on the CBS or Paramount deal, whatever they're calling it this week. It's called Star Trek Lower Decks. It's kind of like if you took a Star Trek Next Generation episode and mixed it with Rick and Morty a little bit, I suppose. It's really fun that it kind of still tackles a lot of the like sci-fi mysteries that like Star Trek The Next Generation were. So it's really ridiculous and over the top without being cheesy. I watched a couple of episodes the first time a couple nights ago, and I was like, whoa, this is actually pretty good. I thought it was going to be really cringy and not really take the Star Trek part of it very seriously, but it succeeded on both of those fronts, and I was very happy with it.
That's cool. Did you like the new, I guess it's not very new. It was like 2007-ish Star Trek movie.
Was that the one where like, okay, spoilers for anybody that cares, but is that the one where like Data died?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember.
Or are you talking about the Chris Pine one?
The Chris Pine.
Yes. That trilogy is beloved in this household, actually. We were just watching the second one with Benedict Cumberbatch the other night.
Yeah.
And you know what? That movie holds up. I
It does.
remember being a little disappointed in it at the time because, like, I love the second one, Wrath of Khan. That's, like, one of the best sci-fi movies ever made. And I was disappointed because, like, Benedict Cumberbatch, he's a great actor, but he is not at all the same character that was in the old one from the 80s. And I don't know, but I watched it again. I'm like, okay, I don't really care about this anymore. And that movie holds up great. I think actually the third one is my favorite because it brings back the Beastie Boys tracks. It does some other cool stuff where it's like, well, I don't want to spoil it, but the third one's my favorite. I recommend that one. Which one was your favorite of the old stuff?
I think Of the Chris Pines, I like the first one. I actually had my first kiss during the first Star Trek because whatever girly movie we were supposed to watch was sold out in the theater that didn't have anybody in it. So I don't know how that worked, but
I didn't know that.
she just kind of looked at me and she's like, "Well, do you want to see anything?" And I was just, Star Trek, I guess.
Cute.
That was news for her over there too, apparently.
It was.
The other thing I'm picking is this new Star Wars anime that showed up on Disney Plus a couple of days ago called Star Wars Visions. They dropped the whole thing at once instead of doing one episode a week, and it's like about 7 or 8 20-minute short films. It's like a different anime studio for each like little Star Wars short. Me and Brooklyn watched 3 or 4 of them the other night, and I was just blown away with how good it was. The first one is really cool. It does kind of like a Kurosawa deal where it's mostly black and white, and it obviously it makes like a Jedi kind of like a shogun or a samurai or whatever. It's really cool. We watched some other ones that were a little bit more cutesy, but I liked what I've seen so far. It's really cool seeing Star Wars taken out of its usual context. But yeah, if you got Disney Plus, check that out. I've been loving that.
Yeah, there's so much more Star Wars coming out now with Disney, kind of pushing it forward, especially Mandalorian. So that's interesting. I need to check that out.
I am so excited for this Obi-Wan show that's supposed to come out next year, where they bring back Ewan McGregor and some of the actors from the prequels. But now it's like, it feels like it's going to redeem the prequels a little bit. Because like, if you go back and watch the prequels now, we were talking about stuff holding up. It does not hold up.
No.
I mean, there's parts of some of them that, like the pod race is cool. The fight between Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end is cool, but the rest of it, oh man, I remember loving it at the time when I was like younger, but now I'm like, it's cringy. I can't do it.
Yeah, it was the merchandising, right? For sure.
That leads us into something else that I wanted to go into a little bit, because Ryan and I happen to work at the same place a little bit, and Jordan does too. And Charlotte has had some involvement with this. So I feel like since the 4 of us are here, we can't let this slide by. We got to nerd out about the space stuff a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yes. So all right. So I have to preface this. None of us are speaking for any employer, past or present. This is just us nerding out about science and space stuff in general. But all right, guys, I don't know about you, but like the past couple years and like the couple years that are coming up, I feel like it's finally the 60s again a little bit for space stuff.
We're getting very close. I'm a little personally cynical about everything, just a little bit, mostly on the NASA side, because, when I first came to NASA as an intern in summer 2015, they kept talking about what was then called Exploration Mission 1, which is the first SLS launch. That's now rebranded as Artemis, but that launch was supposed to be 24 months away in June of 2015. And here we are, and we still haven't launched it in 2021. And, the official launch date is November something still, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah. I meant to talk with you about that because we're plotting a road trip to go see Artemis 1 launch, and it looks like it might be a little bit longer than we had hoped.
Yeah, we got to go down and see it, though. It's going to be sweet when it goes off. It's uncrewed, so it's going to be a toss-up. I'm not sure how many people will come just to see an uncrewed launch, because it's almost a test.
Oh, I think people are packed.
But it's a massive new rocket.
Yeah.
Well, it's exciting to me because the SLS rocket is the one that will launch with Artemis 1 is basically going to be the same one that will launch a human in Artemis 3. And we should probably back up a step and explain this a bit for people that like this, but maybe haven't tuned in as much as us or our friends. So like Artemis 1, you explain that one for us, Ryan. That's going to be the test in a way, right?
Yeah, so Artemis 1 is the first test of the full-up SLS, which stands for Space Launch System rocket. It's quite tall. It's, I think, just a hair taller than the Saturn V, so we're talking 300 plus feet. when it's fully stacked up. And it's almost fully stacked up right now down in Florida. But that is going to take an Orion capsule, which is where the astronauts would sit if they were riding. It's going to take that out around the moon, and then it's going to swing back around. It's going to take about 2 weeks. They're going to get a lot of great data from that flight, and see, how everything goes compared to all these simulations and stuff that they've run and projected. So that's going to be a really cool flight for me, I guess. I worked on the launch abort system of Orion, which is an emergency escape for the astronauts. So that's going to be the first time we'll stack up on top of SLS, and that'll be
clarify for people too. Like when they see a picture of the SLS, your work is the stuff that's on the very tippy top, right?
Yeah, it doesn't get any smaller in diameter than the launch abort system. It's the very, very top on top of the capsule.
Just the tip.
Yeah, just a tip, and the tip has some explosive powers in it. It's got a couple solid rocket motors in there that can really knock the socks off the astronauts in case of emergency and get them away from the exploding rocket.
It's like 9,000 feet per second, right?
I have no
it's
idea.
enough to
honestly.
break their bones and their chest, but it'll move them out to safety, away from an exploding rocket. That's about how fast you need to go.
Jordan, what do you do at the day job? You told me before, but it's escaping my mind right now.
I work in technology transfer. So my job is to take all of the wonderful research that NASA engineers have been developing to explore space and help bring them back down to Earth. So you can get new products like memory foam started off at NASA, baby formula, the little camera in your phone.
Oh, what's the juice? Everybody always says, what's the juice packet, Charlotte?
Are you talking about Tang?
Tang's fake news. Sorry. Tang was not invented by us. We just drank it up there because it was powderized and it worked. Same with Velcro. Velcro was not invented by NASA. It was invented by, don't quote me on this, but a Swedish farmer.
It does seem like a Swedish thing now that you say that.
It was a farmer in Europe, I believe, but he was getting little spurs stuck to his wool socks and was like, look how great these stick together. And then boom, Velcro.
I've been lied to for years. I totally thought Tang was like exclusively a NASA thing.
I'm sorry.
I hope you don't think astronaut ice cream has actually been in space, because it has not.
No, that's totally a marketing thing. That stuff is not that bad, Aggie.
It is good.
If you go into it not wanting real ice cream, it's not that bad. If you go into it wanting real ice cream, it's disgusting.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, we should probably pick back up like Artemis 2. And you just mentioned Artemis 1, Ryan. That's going to be kind of like the test one that's uncrewed to go around the moon and back. 2 will have somebody on board on pretty much the same ride, but they won't go down to the moon. They'll just take a ride around and come back, right?
Right. So Artemis 2 is going to have the first crew, like you said, and they're gonna go around. They're not going to land or anything. But as we progress further in the Artemis cadence, I guess, we are going to be doing more things. The eventual goal of the Artemis program is to return to the moon.
Yeah. Now that's
something that's pretty popular. Quote recently is, we're going to bring the first woman and the next man to the moon with the Artemis program. Since the only people that have been there are the 12 guys that landed in the late 60s, early 70s.
Now, I love that that's one thing that I love that they're doing with this is they're taking diversity seriously. So it's not just the first woman, it's going to be the first person of color too. That's going to be on Artemis 3, where somebody actually is going to be walking around on the moon.
Yeah, that's really nice. And, that's a really good government thing to do, to kind of show that anybody, all these kids that are going to be watching these launches are going to be like, oh man, there's someone like me. And like, just, I know, how it is. And Jordan, especially, like most of engineering and NASA is a bunch of white men, and it gets old after a while.
Well, I mean, I don't know about your area, but like I know my area. I guess I should tell a little bit about what I do since people ask sometimes. Nothing nearly as cool as what you guys do. I just kind of like support communications and things in the IT department of NASA. So I do get the opportunity to talk to a lot of different departments at NASA, and I've been lucky to work with some of the people down at Kennedy that are starting to prep for this and other missions. And to me, I have found that NASA is full of a diverse crowd. There's a little bit of everybody, and it's fun to see not just different backgrounds represented, but like different ways of thinking represented. I can't speak for other agencies in the vast federal government, but it feels like NASA is full of a little bit of everything, and I feel like that is great. I was talking about Star Trek earlier, and that was something that they worked hard on with different series, is they wanted to show a diversity on the Enterprise or whatever it was, and I feel like that has, in a way, like sci-fi seems to influence the real world, and I feel like maybe that's kind of what's happening. NASA in a way is Starfleet. We have a great diversity.
Yeah, I think it's pretty awesome. I think NASA is definitely better than a lot of places, but I don't think we're all the way there yet. I think we've got a little ways to go.
Well, we're getting there, and that's the other thing that I was going to bug you guys about too. Is like, how do you feel about some of these private places like SpaceX or Blue Origin starting to take up some of the air out of the room with these low Earth orbit flights? I guess we should explain that too for people that don't follow this stuff like we do. You guys want to explain how NASA is kind of contracting that out now?
So from my perspective in the technology transfer world, it's actually a good thing. In the fact that, so NASA's whole mission, right, is to explore and innovate and challenge and bring on something new, right? We've already explored low orbit. Low orbit.
Yeah.
So releasing the International Space Station to the commercial sector is actually good for us because that frees up a lot of funding that we can now use to build new telescopes, build the SLS, which can take us to Mars and beyond. Like it's giving us new projects, new ways to create new technologies, new ways to advance the human race that like people that are in the commercial space sector aren't going to spend funding to do. A lot of these people that are doing that have private funding, and they're not going to take the risks that NASA is going to do.
Yeah.
They need to be making money back on this. And NASA's goal is not to make money, but to better the human race as a whole. And so I think it's personally a good thing.
I do too. I totally agree. We were talking earlier about like how things slowed down for a while there. Back in the 60s and early 70s, the reason that we were going to the moon so many times is because there was a bit of a competition between us and the Soviets. And for decades, that wasn't the case. Now it kind of feels like there is friendly competition between like the federal side of things and like the private side of things. Like you've got like Elon Musk kind of pushing things along now a little bit in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think that's really good. I like SpaceX. They're doing a ton of things. We've also got Blue Origin in there and Virgin Galactic trying to offer tourist flights. I know Boeing's working on their crew capsule, which is, they've been having some issues, but they're kind of catching up.
Mm.
But all these players, there's only so much money that the American voter will give to NASA, which is very minor. Anybody that thinks NASA has a ton of money is dead wrong. That's all with the DoD, but
yeah,
we can't do all the things that we want to do in space on the budget that we have, and having all of these private companies finding the ability to do them and potentially profit on them is really good for innovating and traveling to space in general. We're going to have a lot more options in the future.
In a way, like kind of the lower budget has kind of pushed along innovation though, because we've still had, I mean, we've been on Mars. A human hasn't been on Mars, but we've virtually been there with a number of rovers. There's, one that landed earlier this year that's rolling around and is taking like samples from rocks and stuff. So like maybe humans have slowed down in exploring the rest of our solar system, but we're still finding ways to learn new things about our neighbors on, on Mars or whatever.
Yeah, I think everything we're doing is really good. If we had more money, we could probably do more, but there's only so much you can do, and space continues to innovate. Life finds a way, I guess. But
okay.
We're getting there.
Question for each of you as we wrap this part up. Say you get a call from Elon Musk or Richard Branson telling you, got an empty seat, are you ready to go? Would you do it?
I would do it. No questions asked.
Hell yes. Hell yes.
Who wants to be an astronaut? I'm terrified of heights and small spaces and dying.
Yeah.
Would I do it? Yeah, because you'd be a fucking idiot. Sorry.
Yes, absolutely.
You would be an idiot to pass it up, but I would be crying the entire time.
Oh no, I would be freaking out. I would be like staring out the window and hyped up, man. I get that call, I'm like, I don't even hesitate. I'm like, let's go. I'm going.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No question.
Charlotte, would you do it?
Oh, heck yeah. But I'd probably be so excited I would literally pass out. Like I would have so much anxiety about it. But I would do it for sure. For sure. And I actually just remembered I had a dream about this the other night.
Wait,
like, I
what?
just remember that.
Tell
and y'all
us.
three were in it.
They were in it?
Yeah.
What?
Tell us.
So I just remembered this. So like the other night I dreamed that they were just picking random employees to go on the next mission, and all three of y'all got picked, and they had a big parade, and that was all I remember.
We going, guys.
Oh yeah. And we're gonna get a parade.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this is creepy because I had a space dream the other night too. Like, I don't think I told you about this, Charlotte. I told Brooklyn this, but I forgot to tell you. I had this weird dream where I was on a capsule that already had landed on Mars. And like me and like two other people were there. I don't remember who the two other people were. Maybe it was you guys, apparently. We looked out the window on the Martian surface, and there were these wires that were there. And we were like, okay, NASA didn't put that there. SpaceX didn't put that there. That was already there. And then like the wires start moving. We're like, oh shit, there's aliens here. And all of a sudden, in my dream, this red guy showed up. He kind of looked like Vision from like Marvel, but he was red and almost translucent like a gummy. And he had on a helmet that kind of looked like a hollowed out watermelon. And he was like, oh, don't freak out. Like, I live here. I just want to hang out with you guys. And he was asking us about like Bonnaroo and stuff. He wanted to know like what bands we liked at Bonnaroo. Apparently this Martian guy wanted to go to Bonnaroo with us or something.
Dude, he should have gone to Loop Daddy.
No. I would tell my Martian buddy he's got to go with me to Tame whenever they come back. Yeah, that's where I feel like that would make sense. But Loop Daddy, yes, sure. Oh my gosh. All right, we could go all night about this stuff. This is fun. But Ryan, you have been at our Mini Roos pretty much almost every time that we've had it now. And I hear you got something that's going to kind of show off the place to people.
Yeah, so it's just fresh on the upload, so it'll be out in public by the time this podcast goes live. So make sure you check it out. It's a video on our fourth miniature Bonnaroo. Yeah. This one was almost a punch in the gut because we didn't know we were going to do it until Bonnaroo got canceled on the day it was supposed to start, pretty much, for the people that are going in camping. But we tried to make the best of the situation, and I think we did a real good job of making the weekend fantastic. We've had a couple of these before, so the format was a little bit easier to kind of drop in place. And I was feeling pretty inspired, so I brought out my camera and documented the whole weekend and put together a 2-minute video about it. I think it's pretty good, but I'm a little biased because I made it. But
I loved it too.
Definitely check it out. It's on YouTube. My channel is Journey with Ryan, and this is a new project that I'm working on to share my photos and films that I take with my Nikon D5200, and it's the first video that's going to be on this YouTube channel. And check it out. Let me know what you think about it.
There was some cool drone photography in that too. I got to check out this video. We were like on that campsite, like the Mini Roo site is, I don't know, maybe about 7 or 8 acres or whatever. I would be over there across the field hanging out with somebody, and I would see your drone flying over. And I started this thing. Everybody would start flipping off the drone because we knew that you might be watching with the camera.
I know we staged a race between Kyle, the Bonnaroovian, and the drone. And, you know, I turned the drone sideways so the camera was faced towards Kyle. And I didn't realize it until we started the race that my drone was not quite straight. And I definitely got a little close to some fellow campers.
Do you have that? I want to see that.
It doesn't show the campers, but it is a good video. I'll show it to you later. Dude
is fast. He's like big into like a lot of different sports. I feels like he works out a lot because he about damn near beat that drone.
I think we can give him the win.
We'll give him the win. We'll have a rematch one of these days. We got to go see him. He's up in Murfreesboro with a couple of other Rubians. I need to go hang out with them.
Let's go drive up.
I'm down, yeah. Anything else you guys want to plug? Or are you going to have more adventure footage on your YouTube channel and stuff?
Yeah, once we get some more footage from our travels, you know, Jordan and I like to travel a lot, so.
Yeah, you guys have been all over the place. Where else have you been this summer?
Oh gosh. Can I count?
What do we get, like 16?
We hit 16 or so states in the same month.
Wow.
Oh gosh. We drove from Huntsville all the way up to Maine, and we took our cat with us. And
oh my God,
that was a big adventure. So we've got some film from that, so I might put some together on that eventually.
Oh, I've got a plug for you, and this is a plug for anybody else listening too. I think I might have told you about this at Mini Roo, but we're starting to slowly formulate a group and a plan for a Bonnaroo camp at Burning Man in 2 years.
So, yep.
I'm just putting it out there. If you're interested, we need to start getting the ball rolling on this.
Hit up Daniel.
In 23, not 22. So they've taken 2 years off as well. So next year it's going to be insane. It's going to be all the California locals. But I'm thinking 23. Yeah. That's when it'll open up a little bit, and that gives plenty of time to plan. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see there was quite a few people that showed up this year, even though it wasn't officially happening?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, they basically did the same thing that we did. Like, you know, 2 weeks ago, all the Rubians made their own events. But the cool thing about Burning Man is, what is it? Black Rock City? Is that the name of the desert? So. Yeah. It's a public space. It's public land. They can't stop anybody from just showing up and camping out, as hard as it is, because, like, you have to poop in a bucket and stuff, you know? Apparently, they showed up and basically did their own mini Burning Man. I think, how many people were there? I mean, you were reading about this. Maybe about 10, 15,000 people?
Yeah, that's what I read.
But I want to go to the real thing. I want to see the whole city lit up with all the different stuff that you can see. But yeah, let's follow up on this later. Any other Bonnaroovians that are interested in Camp Bonnaroo at Burning Man, Labor Day weekend 23, here in about a little less than 2 years. We'll slowly make this happen. I'm excited. You guys are going to be there, right?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, yes. Anything else you want to plug before we sign off?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Plug a random Huntsville place since we're in the same town. What's your favorite spot to go eat or have a beer in Huntsville?
I don't really have a Huntsville favorite, but we do take a lot of people to Hops and Guac because of the novelty of, you know, they've got a wall of self-pouring beers. It's really nice just to grab your own beer and you can just try stuff and try whatever you want. They got really good Mexican food too.
That place turns into a club late at night for some reason.
Yeah.
I like the Bird at the Mountain, the Wednesday wine thing.
Oh,
which,
yeah.
by the way, I think this Wednesday is the last one. So you should think.
Well, by the time this comes out, I guess people will know about the last one. So yeah.
Yeah, it's really pretty though. Have you been?
I have been there a long time ago. Just give some background information for people that may not know about it. It's on top of Montesano Mountain here in Huntsville, and it's like this old-timey museum. And what else do they have there?
Big wedding venue.
Oh yeah.
But it's just a big patio on the top of a cliff, and the chairs, which I thought ended up being my favorite part, but they're all clear plastic, And you go up there and you watch the sunset. And the way the sunset shines through all these plastic shares, it just illuminates and creates this beautiful, crazy glow that I can't explain. You just have to see it in person. But the wine's really cheap, and they do like cheese and wine, but like they give you an entire wheel of cheese that they just bought at Publix. And like, if you want hummus, it's the thing you buy at Publix of hummus, and an entire bag of like pita chips from Publix. Like, it's all just store-bought food, and they just give it to you, and it's really, really cool.
You had me at the wheel of cheese. Oh, that reminds me. Me and Charlotte have had this long idea that we've never acted on, is that we're going to go to like Kroger or whatever and buy like a whole wheel of cheese. And we're going to have like a cut the cheese party at Bonnaroo where everybody just shows up and we cut them some cheese.
Yes. Big Wheel of Cheese Day.
Yes, exactly. We can bring it to like the Camp Red Roo Beer Exchange and give it out or whatever. Well, all right. Another plan for June of 22, I suppose.
There was an old president that, oh gosh.
Yes,
man.
yes, because it was a story on the West Wing. I already know.
Yeah, anybody that watches a lot of West Wing is going to kill me for not remembering. But one of the old presidents brought in a massive wheel of cheese, and, you know, he had it there so anybody could just take some. And, you know, it was kind of just a free thing to let the people come in and listen to their problems and, you know, eat some cheese.
I want to say it was Andrew Jackson.
That's what I was thinking too, so I'll believe you.
If I remember the story right, it turned into like a 3-day rager inside the White House. It took him like weeks to clean up the White House after that party. Okay, that's a history homework assignment for us all. I'm going to look that up too. All right, well, thanks so much for hanging out with us this week, you guys. Quick reminder for everybody that's made it this far. Yes, this coming Tuesday, Tame Impala concert in Atlanta. Come to the Georgia International Plaza at 5:30. I'll have a couple of T-shirts to give out to first come, first serve. We'll hang out, maybe go next door and have a beer. Can't wait to see everybody. Also, I want to give a big plug to Them Damn Dogs from right here in Huntsville, Alabama. They provided the kind of in-between music for us this week. That's something I'm going to try to do in future episodes, is promote local bands here and also local bands in your area. So if you're listening and there's somebody in your town that you would like to promote, hook us up with them, and I will play some of their music on Storytime at the Roo Bus. Anything else from you this week, Charlotte?
I can't think of anything.
All right. Well, this was fun, guys. We're in the same town. We got to hang out and do something again real soon.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Have us on.
Thanks, Sue.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad you're here. All right. Thanks, guys. Everybody else, we'll talk to you soon. Get out there and radiate positivity.
Bye.
Bye.